guys, Luke from Students of History here, and I'm here to give you a preview of one of the biggest units in U.S. history and world history, and that is World War II. So no matter what you're teaching, whether it's U.S. history or world history, World War II is going to be a major unit for you. It's obviously one of the biggest events in world history, so it's going to be something we're going to spend some time on. This curriculum you can see here for world history is going to take students from the rise of dictatorships all the way through. We're going to look at all the aspects of the war. We're going to look at genocides in history, and it's going to finish up here with a review and assessment on day 11. So this is block classes, so that's 11 90-minute classes. If you teach daily classes of 45 minutes or so, that's really enough for over 20 class periods. This is a month or more of your class schedule. Now that can be edited a little bit, but you can also follow along this pacing just as it's done. I think it's a perfect way for you to pace out this for world history or U.S. history curriculum. For U.S. history, we'll click on World War II as well, and you can see this is going to be similar, but it's going to be a little bit different based off of each curriculum. It's tailored exactly to what you need. So let's look at U.S. history here. You start off with the rise of fascism, because we need to know that, whether it's world history or U.S. history. There's a great interactive pop-up activities, a flipped classroom lesson, and videos that they can use to look at the rise of Adolf Hitler and others. Before we look at the rise of the Allies, and this is really just key people to know. So you want them to know the presidents and the leaders like FDR, Winston Churchill, and others, but also the generals that they're going to need to know for the war, whether it's Patton or Eisenhower or others. We'll spend a couple days in world history and U.S. history on battles and events of World War II, looking at the major battles that they need to know for the war, some of the events. They'll make great timelines for the war from 1939, where the war starts, all the way through the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. In U.S. history now, day 5 and 6, we're looking at Americans who contributed to the victory. On day 5, kids are learning about, women, Rosie the Riveter. They're looking at the Nisei soldiers. They're looking at the Navajo code talkers and the importance of their language. They're looking at Tuskegee Airmen who served in Europe there as well, and making honorary plaques for them, which you can see in that picture there. The home front, looking at the aspects of the home front, whether it's rationing of resources, the Selective Service Act, looking at propaganda, and all the ways life changed for Americans and the home front during that time period. Day 7 is an important lesson on Japanese internment, looking at the executive order that allowed for Japanese internment, how that was able to happen, whether we think of it as such a civil liberties violation today, but how that was able to happen, the long-term causes that led up to that with prejudice and discrimination against Asian Americans, and then the impact that had. We'll read some primary sources from people who were in those internment camps like Manzanar, and the impact that had on them. Then, of course, you're looking at the Holocaust, whether it's world history or U.S. history. You're going to need to look and understand that this terrible, tragic, awful event in human history, that is the Holocaust, a look at what happened, how it happened, and obviously the terrible toll it had on Jewish people in Europe and others. And then we look at the end of World War II with the atomic bombings, and we'll read a primary source of Truman's decision to drop the bombs. And then U.S. history is going to end with the double V. That is the double V for victory at home and victory abroad. Victory abroad over fascism, and victory at home over racism, and some of the African Americans who pushed for both and connected the civil rights movement and the war. There is known as the double V, right? So in world history, you're going to see some very similar activities and lessons. We're going to spend a day on appeasement as a world history. We're also looking at Neville Chamberlain trying to appease Hitler and the impact that had, obviously, and the rise of Winston Churchill in his place. Then we're going to have some similar events there as well. You're also going to be looking at America's role as well. In world history, we're going to spend some more time on the Holocaust, and then also look at other genocides in history and connect that to other genocides, the Armenian genocide, genocide in Cambodia, and others, before we get into the review and the assessment there. whether either curriculum, the review is going to have review games, it's going to have review vocabulary activities, it's going to have engaging stuff for you to review. There's a thorough unit guide packet that really covers everything that students need to know for their unit. Then the tests are there for you as well. They're editable, so if you want to add some questions or take some questions away, you can do that. There's a Google Forms version, so kids can take the test right on their computer and give them their grade right there, so you don't have to worry about grading it. There's different options, so if you want to have kids take a different test for their retake, you can do that. Everything is here for you. It's all planned out. It's all engaging. Everything is there. You don't have to worry about your pacing. You don't have to worry about what you're going to do each day or how you're going to be teaching this. Everything is done for you. It's based off of the important stuff kids to know and state standards and national standards. But it really reflects the most important stuff that kids need to know. It's interactive. It's engaging. I think you'll love it. It's perfect for your middle school or high school students in U.S. history or world history. If you have questions about either of these units or any unit in my curricula, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll be happy to help you out. Thanks.